Recording.
Okay. So Dr. McCain, thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity to speak with you this morning. As you know, I have been working on a communications audit for our school here at Part T. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to explain to you the findings of this audit. And get this to work. There we go. So first of all, the reasoning behind this audit. It was to identify the current communication systems and strategies, as well as the activities and efforts of Part T to engage our internal as well as our external constituencies. I always have a hard time saying that. Our goals, we have two main goals. The first one is to pinpoint the effective communication uses that are currently in place, as well as target areas for improvement with our current communication techniques. So as far as our data collection was concerned, my data collection with this process consisted of two different subgroups. The first one being internal stakeholders, and it consisted of a focus group of first grade teachers, so select teachers from the first grade group, as well as our instructional coach, our media specialist, our e-class specialist, and you yourself, the principal. Our external stakeholders that I involved were the All Pro Dads committee members, as well as the team leader, the school PTA president, and a couple of parent volunteers. So looking at this data, this is actually showing a chart of the information that was collected from the internal publics that we currently have. And so this internal audit consisting of the focus group, support personnel, the school principal, these were the ones that were actually spoken with or interviewed. And it identifies several areas of strength that we had when I communicated with them. So looking at this, as you see, we do have several that were found to be good two-way communication efforts. And many of those consisted of daily or weekly communications. So communication that was most commonly shared with these individuals was through email. That was the one that was found to be the most often. And then also staff meetings and face-to-face correspondences from the staff members was known to be amongst those high ones as well. There were also many opportunities, the staff shared that there were many opportunities for them to, did I switch the screen? I didn't mean to switch. Go back on that one. Many opportunities for them to meet and have weekly meetings, and these weekly meetings help them to be able to share their insight as well as express their opinions about different things. So they expressed that was really a positive for them to be able to have these meetings, so these as well as their planning time twice a week. Now this consisted of the responses from the interviews that I held with the external stakeholders. Now the goal was to identify trends or commonalities that existed between their responses and those received from the staff of Part T. The external stakeholders identified that the most common form of communication that they received was through text message, and which also included like the class dojo and the school messenger. And then they also said that they received Friday folders and direct communication from the school during the parent-teacher conferences that are held twice a year. So those are the most common ones. And as you can see here, this question in the middle here is asking about the Part T newsletter. So some of them did express that they had received it, or they were okay with the way that it's formatted, but then others indicated that they weren't even aware that we had one. So looking at this information, we now continue to look at our document review. So the document review was another part of this school audit, and it consisted of looking at the school perception survey, our LSPI data, as well as the school website. And in the school perception survey, we just looked really at the parent input to get their feedback as to the communications with them. And so that information showed, looking at that CCRPI report with the parent perception survey, out of 4 points, these 3 areas here were really based on the communications that we have with the parents, and it shows that they do say that they have that engagement with the school, that they're able to attend meetings, the communication is in their own language, so they're able to understand it, and that the school leaders are responsive to their concerns, and the parent and guardian input is considered when decisions are being made. So those were all positives that were reflected back. with the LSPI, we show that there's a strong need for communication of these goals that we have in place with our parents and our community members. More so because we do see that our goal is focused and centered around really increasing that percentage with our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students in the proficiency and distinguished learner levels on that Georgia Milestones Assessment. So we really want to make sure that we are ultimately building the capacity of our parents. And so when reflecting on our goal that we had set for and looking at for this upcoming school year, we have already put in place that we want to build the parent capacity. As we see, we already have that mentioned in our goal. So when looking further at our school website, it has proven to be a really good resource for obtaining information about our school, but there is room for growth for us in this area. We want to consider opportunities for that two-way communications, for parents to be able to provide that feedback. That was one of the things that several of the parents did say, that they wanted to be able to provide more input. So we also realized that there was a gap with our connection between our school's social media accounts. We do have a Facebook account with Partee as well as a Twitter account. And we don't have those accounts linked onto our school website. So some of the suggestions from our stakeholders included we have a need for easier access to the school calendar and the conference sign up. We need to have a comment section to provide feedback to any weekly updates or news feeds, so that the parents or the stakeholders would be able to actually provide comments in that section. A link to the school newsletter, add a school blog, and then input video tutorials for parents and students to use. So those were some of the suggestions that came back from the interviews that were conducted as well as the surveys. So it's strengths. Some of the strengths that stood out during this process was that, first of all, we do have a strong communication system that exists with emails and that being used to maintain records of our communications. We are currently, as a school, using the Class Dojo communication app, and of course, as we've discussed already, we wanted to push that out school-wide to ensure that not just that select group of first grade teachers or a few others, but everyone is actually using that as a communication tool with the parents this coming year. But then also, another strength is that our two-way communication with staff members by way of face-to-face meetings is very strong. So that is really going to help to support that communication with our staff, among staff. Now, our areas for growth. We do have a deficit in face-to-face communication with external groups or organizations. There's also a lot of reliance on the paper forms of communication, such as relying on them reading the newsletters or checking those Friday folders and agendas to share that important information. We want to make sure that they are actually getting it and have been able to respond to it. The school site also is void of any community connections or links to social media, and there is no school blog. And then also it is lacking a simplified access to communications that involve our parent or community feedback. So after considering these things and looking at our areas of weaknesses, we do have a couple of recommendations. So I broke these down into two different categories. The first category being improving the face-to-face communication. And so we want to have the community focus section added to our home page of our website, of our school website. So if you actually open up the school website, now you will see the Partee header, but you won't really see any links there or any connections to other areas. So this would be a good place to actually have some links that would take us directly to places where community members could provide input on topics that they feel are important and would like to have more information about. And so once they are able to go in and put that information in, to increase that face-to-face component, my suggestion would be that we have a monthly evening community meeting, kind of like a coffee shop, where they can come out and talk to address any topics that have been discussed in this community members page. And they can be able to provide their opinions and feedback, and they be shared for like an hour meeting once a month, open to the public. The other recommendation would be improving the website communication. Again, going back to consider how our home page is currently arranged, if we would just go in and rearrange a few things and pull all of the important items to the front, such as our school newsletter, our school social media accounts, any blog that could be created, a volunteer sign up right there on the site to allow these parents and volunteer school community members to be able to come out to our school more frequently. Have our school calendar up front. Right now, you have to scroll all the way down to the bottom to see it. So if we bring that up front, that would actually allow them to see activities and events that are taking place and be able to volunteer for those. A conference sign up, easily accessible on the front page, as well as any video tutorials that are convenient to the timing. So something that may be beneficial for preparing for the benchmarks, assessments, or whatever may be coming up. And these would be all accessible with one click. The other option, the other idea for improving the homepage would be to link the teachers' e-class pages directly to the website, since we know that that is where the teachers' pages are house all the information for parents to be able to get information about their class, and students as well. So we want to really make that easier for them to access. So those were the two main subtopics that I was really looking at for improving with communication. But as you can see, overall we do have a lot of good things going on here at Part T, but just some areas that we really want to concentrate on to try to improve our communication. So did you have any questions for me?
No, ma'am. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Well, thank you so much for your time.